Let's talk about microphone preamps. There are so many myths out there. For some people, a Neve or an API preamp are crucial in their recording setup. For other people, mic pre's are totally overrated. They just don't care. Today, I want to show you why mic pre's can be very important or not important at all. I want to make an extreme comparison. I want to compare one of the most affordable mic pre's on the market to one of the most boutique high-end mic pre's that money can buy. Time to find out if you actually need a high-end mic pre or not. Let's get started. So here are the contenders. In one corner, the Affordable Micpre is the Audient Evo mic preamp. It's not even a dedicated preamp. It is the mic pre that you find in their more affordable Evo range of USB interfaces, the Evo 4, the Evo 8, and the Evo 16. And you've seen me using that preamp on this channel a lot. I do have an Evo 4 and I have an Evo 16, and I'm traveling with it. So that's my mobile recording setup. I use it on the road when I do interviews, when I record elsewhere. And this preamp is actually known for sounding ridiculously good, not only for the price, and is known for being one of the best affordable mic preamps. And the price is actually ridiculous. I just looked it up. Let me look it up again. I looked it up on Thomann today. So if you buy the Evo 4 interface right now, it will cost you 115 euros. And that's not only two mic pre's, that also includes the converters and a USB interface. So how much is one of those mic pre's? 25 bucks, 30 bucks or something? That will basically cost you nothing. It doesn't get cheaper than that. I actually did a video where I compared the converters and the mic pre's of the Evo 16 with my API SSL setup. You'll find the video here. That was very interesting already. Okay, let's move on. In the other corner, our high-end mic pre comes from BAE. And BAE are known for making some of the most accurate vintage Neve remakes on Earth. And I just met Colin from BAE in Los Angeles, and I did an interview with him that you will see on this channel sooner or later. And those guys just don't cut any fucking corners. It's all handmade, it's all point to point. They only use the most expensive original components, and they just don't cut any corners. And that makes their preamps, of course, way more expensive. There are pieces of art. They are really beautiful. Today we are using the 1028 preamp, which is actually a preamp EQ combination. We ignore the EQ today. We just use the preamp, and the preamp is, I think, taken from the preamp part of a 1073 Neve. And the 1028, let me look it up in Germany right now. That's a little more expensive. It will cost you 5,139 euros. So how many Audient preamps can we buy for that? I mean, it includes the EQ. I think if you just buy the one channel preamp, it's between 1,500 and 2,000 bucks. But still way more than the Audient Evo preamp. So let's find out how they compare. And I think I found the perfect audio example to show you the difference between those preamps. We're going to use some heavy guitars. I love using heavy guitars to compare preamps because, you know, they're like filtered white noise. They really show you the differences in the frequency spectrum quite well. They don't show you transients as good as drums, but still you get a feel for the transient response of the preamp as well. When I was in Los Angeles at Warren Hewitt's Spitfire studio, you might remember I was using his vintage Neumann U47, a $30,000 microphone. I used the U47 for reamping some heavy guitars, and I reamped them twice through both preamps. So we've got the exact same performance, the exact same scenario, everything's the same. The only difference is the mic pre. And the song we are listening to is a song from this video here that you should check out. There's a complete documentary about how I recorded that song. I'm playing all the instruments. I'm in one room with my laptop recording this song, all the tracks. A 1-hour video. Check it out. So I'm using the DI tracks from that song. And now it's time to jump right over into Cubase and to have a listen. So here we've got the stems of the song, we've got the drums. Got some lead guitars. And the bass. Together it sounds like this. And now we've got guitars red and guitars yellow. Because right now I don't want to tell you which one is which. You know, we want to be open for everything, and then you can just guess. I'm going to tell you. But let's just start with listening to those guitars soloed. We're also going to listen to them in the mix later, but just soloed. So let's take a minute, and I'm simply going to switch between the two guitars. It's going to look like this. Now red is soloed, and now yellow is soloed. Let's have a listen. Very interesting, right? Can you hear the difference? Which one sounds better to you? Or do they sound the same? If we go back to this part with the palm mutes, I think this one shows the main difference quite well. But I also hear a significant difference in this part. And just to show you that those guitars are not the same, if we do a null test, you can hear that they don't null at all, so there is a clear difference. Yeah, now I'm going to give you what you're waiting for. So, in red, the first track here, this is the Audient Evo preamp. And in yellow, we have the BAE Neve preamp. And of course, you knew that, right? You heard that right away. I only have experts watching, right? So first of all, no, there is not a night and day difference. Not at all. And that is good news for every one of you who can't afford a high-end Micpre. Just get those Evo preamps and start making music. Save the money for getting some good microphones, for getting some good instruments to record, or whatever, for building a studio or something, okay? That's maybe a better investment, especially in the beginning, because with this Micpre, you can make fantastic sounding records, okay? So if your recordings sound shitty, the Micpre cannot be an excuse. It's good enough. I can make a record with that. So that's the good news. So if you can't afford high-end, you can still make wonderful sounding records. Now, there is a clear difference still, and I think in favor of the high-end Micpre. I think the BAE clearly sounds better. Does it sound €1,500 better? Probably not, but it clearly sounds better. Let me show you what I'm hearing. So the first thing that jumps at me is the difference in the low end. The Evo doesn't sound more bassy, it just sounds a little boomy. Whereas the BAE just sounds a little more relaxed in the low end. I'm talking about tiny differences here, right? So it's not night and day. And the Evo even sounds a little bit like on the edge, like if something, you know, is almost breaking. Whereas the low end of the BAE is more relaxed. It just sounds a little better. So that's one thing I'm clearly noticing. Can that be fixed with an EQ? Probably yes. But then again, if I don't have to, that makes my life easier, right? If we listen to this part, it's very interesting because here with the open chords, I can hear a certain hardness, upper mid hardness coming from the Evo that I wouldn't notice if I could not do an A-B shootout. But listen. So the BAE, it just sounds a little more relaxed, if that makes sense. Tiny difference again, but it sounds more relaxed. It just seems, that sounds stupid, I know, but it's just a little more musical. So in the chuga chuga parts, it sounds tighter, and in the open parts, it sounds a little warmer. Again, we're talking about very small differences. Now the question is that important to you or not? And once again, can that be fixed with an EQ? Probably yes. But then again, everything that doesn't have to be fixed, you know, makes my life a little easier. Now, I want to show you one more difference that I think is almost the most interesting or fascinating difference. And we can hear that a lot better in the mix. So maybe just switch a few more times between the two in the mix. And let's see if you can hear that. By the way, this is not completely mixed and the guitars are completely raw. There's not even a low cut filter or a high cut filter. No EQ on the guitars, nothing. I just wanted to show you the pure output of the Micpre. And because of the, I wouldn't say reduced low end, but the reduced boominess, here I can also hear the BAE just sitting slightly better in the mix. But what I'm noticing, and that's really fascinating, is that the BAE just sounds a little wider, like in the stereo image, than the Evo. Can you hear that? I don't know where that comes from, but it really sounds wider. Yeah, you might be able to use like a stereo widening tool for that, but this is just interesting. But what I'm saying is, overall, the Evo sounds really, really good. And you can work with it, you can make great records with it. So just get an Evo 16 and start recording, okay? It sounds good. And the BAE just adds like a certain charming beauty to the signal that is not really needed, but very welcome maybe, you know? Something that you don't miss, but if you get it, it's like, oh, nice. And I feel like it makes my life a little easier. Probably I can make them sound the same. And with the Evo, I just need one or two more tools or, you know, one or two more moves here and there. But a high-end Micpre, just if you choose the right one, it just makes your life a little more easy because it's gonna make everything sound a little more charming and beautiful. And one thing you shouldn't forget is, of course, that this will add up if you record a lot of tracks, right? But if you watching right now maybe own a little Evo 8 or an Evo 16 interface, you know what? You can go to bed tonight and sleep well because you have a great sounding piece of gear that won't be in your way for making great sounding, professional sounding records, right? So if your mixes sound like shit, it's not because of that. It's because you've used the wrong mics, or you haven't positioned the mics correctly, or your mixing skills are not there, or whatever. But it's not the gear. Okay, so now I want to go back to the very beginning. And I think I started this video saying why mic pre's can be important or not important. And I think this demonstrates it correctly. When some people say, I don't care, that's all right. Because they say, hey, the difference is so small that I don't want to invest that kind of money. And I'm able to fix it anyway. I will make it sound great with all the tools that I have. Fair enough, that's cool. Then there are other people who say like, hey, I don't want to do that, and I got the money, and I want to invest in something like this. Fair enough, right? So I think both ways will lead to something great if you do it right. Now, before you start roasting me in the comments, let me tell you this. I know this has not been a complete test. What I wanted to show you is the typical behavior, the typical difference between two mic preamps, even if they are in a very different price range. But yes, there are a lot more parameters that might define the quality of a mic preamp for you. For example, let's talk about the build quality or the housing. Of course, there's a huge difference between the plastic housing of the Evo 4 to the BAE, which feels a lot more solid and professional. Just touch the knobs. That might be important to you or not. But of course, there is a huge difference here. Does it make it sound better? No, but it makes it feel better, right? And what else? Then you have the gain range of the preamps. While the Evo preamps sound really good on loud sources, so if you're a rock and metal guy and mainly record drums and guitars and loud vocals, no problem. They don't really have the beef that I need for recording, let's say, quiet acoustic guitars with a passive ribbon microphone. Here, the Neve just has a lot more power. What else? Yeah, you can drive a Neve preamp. Some people say you can play it like an instrument. You have an input and output, so you can drive it harder if you want. I'm not doing that. Not important for me, but some people like doing that. And you can't do that with the Evo preamp. So what I'm saying, all I have compared in this video is the pure audio quality. But I know that your purchase might depend on other parameters that I haven't touched in this video. I know. All right, and now it's up to you to decide if you are a high-end mic pre type of guy, or if you say, I don't need this. Up to you. Please let me know in the comments. I want to hear your opinion. Let's discuss which one sounds better, how important is the difference or not, which preamps do you use and why. Let me know. Let's talk down there. Now I'm going to play a little more music and switch a few more times so you can listen a little more. That's all for today. Thanks for watching. I see you in hell, motherfuckers. Bye-bye.